Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and I'm about to explain how to burn off belly fat extremely fast and how to do it in the simplest way possible so that it feels natural and easy. First of all, let's talk about this. The big question is, okay, why do you store belly fat? And specifically, as a woman in menopause and things like that, a lot of women will find that as they get older, they start storing this fat around their midsection. Well, we want to figure out why does that happen, what causes it, and what can you do about it. Now, the techniques I'm about to share in this video will explain how anyone can do this, both men and women, but this works especially well if you're a woman in midlife and menopause. First, let's take a look at what's possible. I had a client not long ago named Emily, and as you can see from her pictures, she started putting on that belly fat right around the midsection. And you know, she was pretty depressed about it. She hated how it looked, hated how it felt. In just about 4 weeks, and I'm not exaggerating, Emily was able to lose almost 20 pounds of body fat, and specifically around her waist, you can see how tight and toned she got. Now, the reason she did that so quickly was because when I worked with Emily, we specifically implemented the right foods and the right combination at the right time of day to create very specific chemical reactions in your body. And we're going to talk about what that looks like, okay? But here are the main causes. Now, obviously, there's more causes than these three, but these three would be the main culprits for why you would specifically store fat around your midsection. Okay, the first one is if you've become insulin resistant. Now I have an entire video all about insulin resistance. I'm going to put that up here right now, and how to reverse insulin resistance. Now, the second main reason, as a woman especially, is hormone imbalances. This doesn't mean you have to have hormone imbalances when you go into menopause. You can avoid those. But what happens is a lot of time women will inadvertently become estrogen dominant. Well, in many cases, they're not actually estrogen dominant. What's happened is your progesterone has dropped. So let's say your estrogen and progesterone were even. If your progesterone drops, well, now it looks like you're estrogen dominant. And a lot of times that extra estrogen and not enough progesterone will cause you to store fat around your belly. Now, the main reason this happens, you'll see this stands for adrenal. The main reason this happens is if you're overtaxing your adrenal glands. I also have another video all about why this happens and how the adrenal glands work with women. So if you are a woman in midlife, how to balance your hormones naturally, get them firing again, you can check out that video. Today, we're going to focus on the number one reason that you're starting to gain fat around your midsection, and that is because you're producing the wrong enzymes in your body. Now, I've made a whole video, and I'll go ahead and link that one too, about why you should not cut or restrict calories to lose weight and why you should not do keto or low carb. But one of the main reasons for these two things is they wreck your body, plain and simple. They destroy your metabolism, they mess with your hormones, they crank up your cortisol, they cause very unstable blood sugar. There's a lot of negative side effects. If you were to come to me and let's say you were eating 2,000 calories and you said, I want to lose weight, should I cut my calories? My answer would be no. Instead, let's change the timing of your foods, the combinations of your foods at each meal, and the actual foods that you're eating. Because if we do that first, we will get the right hormones and enzymes firing, and that will cause you to burn fat without having to restrict calories or cut calories. And you'll never run the risk of wrecking your own metabolism. Now, there's two main enzymes that I'm going to talk about today. Obviously, there's way more than this in the body, but I don't think you want to watch a 3-hour video with me talking at you. So the two I want you to keep in mind, and if you're taking notes, that's fine too, obviously. One is called LPL. This stands for lipoprotein lipase. This is a fat storing enzyme. The other is called HSL, which stands for hormone sensitive lipase. This is a fat burning enzyme. And so what determines whether your body's producing one or the other is the chemical reactions you're creating in your body through food. And the combination of foods at each meal will determine this, the timing of foods at different parts of the day, and the actual foods that you're eating. I'm going to give a simple example of each in just a second. LPL, if it's present, this enzyme will do two things to your body. It will make your fat cells very, very sensitive, and it will put this little shield around your fat cells so that prevents your body from using stored body fat as fuel. Or in other words, it prevents you from burning fat. The HSL is the opposite. It'll desensitize those fat cells, and it will pull the fatty acids out of your fat cells anytime you're not exercising. Now, this is critical. So all the 23 hours of the day and that you're theoretically not exercising and while you're sleeping, if the HSL is present, that will be causing you to use your stored body fat as fuel, and that is how you burn the fat off your midsection. Now, I want to make one thing clear. A lot of people will say, well, you can't spot train. You can't just get your body to burn fat off of your belly. It has to lose fat from all the areas of your body. They are correct. However, if you have one of these issues that's directly causing your body to be more prone to storing your body fat around your midsection, then yes, you will be able to get that fat off the midsection and your belly quicker as long as you're doing this. Now, what do most people do? They're going to cut calories, they're going to increase the exercise, and a lot of times they'll get leaner everywhere else except the midsection because they're not addressing these root causes. This is a key point. All right, now the LPL is caused with you have the wrong mix of foods. It causes an insulin spike, your cortisol spikes, and so what happens is your fat cells get really excited. Normally, a lot of the food you eat, if you eat the right foods, should be taken into your muscles and liver and things like that. If the LPL is present, the food will go straight to your fat cells instead because this LPL has made your fat cell receptors so sensitive. So when that food's in the body and it's going through the bloodstream, obviously it's digested, it's amino acids or glucose or fatty acids. If the fat cells are so sensitive, that food will go all right away straight into the fat cells instead of other parts of your body first. If you can flip it, then when you eat, that food is going to fuel your muscles first, your liver first, and then anything left over will go to the fat cells. Well, why is this important? Because if you're eating food and less of it is going to your fat cells, then that means you're going to be using those calories and food for other mechanisms, other reasons in the body, other uses, not automatically storing it as fat. Well, then when you're just chilling through the day, sleeping at night, and the HSL is present, well, now you're going to be taking away the excess body fat. This is how you burn off body fat. Okay, so what would cause higher LPL levels? Let me give you a typical meal that would cause you to store fat and increase the LPL. Something like fruit with nut butter would probably be one of the worst combinations you could have. Why? Because you're combining a simple sugar with this high fat food. And you know, that will cause your blood sugar and insulin to release, which will start activating some of the LPL enzymes. And those fatty acids from the nut butter, the insulin will take those fatty acids pretty much straight into your fat cells. This will start the process of your body storing what you're eating, your dietary fatty acids, as fat, which will increase the LPL even a little bit more. Now you have an enzyme release that makes your fat cells more sensitive and puts a little shield around them so you can't use that fat as fuel. This becomes a vicious cycle. Now what happens is when you eat, it gets stored as fat super easy. When you exercise, your muscles aren't getting the fuel they need and you can't access the fat cells. So when you exercise, you start burning muscle. But then when you eat, you store fat very easily. And this is why so many people struggle. And once you hit that threshold where you get this LPL, and it's like, why is it so easy for me to get fat all of a sudden? And I can spend a month trying all this stuff and then I lose 2-3 pounds. And then I have one meal and I gain 6 pounds. This is what's happening. Okay, this is what's happening. Now, the other hormone or the other enzyme, HSL, now when that's present, okay, when you eat stuff, the muscles take it up, not the fat cells, and you're able to burn fat because they don't have that shield around them. What's an example of a meal that would help spike the HSL? Okay, a baked potato, for example, with steak and a salad. Now, even though this meal is bigger than this meal, probably has more calories, it would actually cause you to burn fat, which is why I just so adamant about not making calories the most important piece. There's so many other things at work here that if you did first correctly, you would never have to cut calories and you would never risk slowing down your metabolism or hurting your thyroid or causing your body to go into a starved, stressed state. Plain and simple. So, key takeaway, you've got to eat the right food at the right time in the right combination to activate the correct enzymes. And this is the number one reason that you're storing belly fat. Now, I can't get into all the specific different combinations, and quite honestly, it's going to be different for each person. This is why working with someone who actually knows what they're doing is so important and can speed up the process so fast, so much, because you can dial in your body and figure out what's really going to crank up your body's fat-burning hormones and enzymes. Now, the last question is, should you do ab exercises to burn off belly fat? Will that help? And the answer is it might, okay? Now, there's a lot of people out there saying, no. It doesn't matter how many ab exercises you do. That's not going to help you burn off belly fat. Well, Technically, that's true, okay? Doing ab exercises won't specifically cause you to burn fat in your stomach area. However, there's two ways to look more fit. One way is you can lose body fat, and then you expose the muscles that are there underneath, okay? The other way is to build your muscles a little bit larger so you can see them better at a slightly higher level of body fat. And even though you may be a little bit higher body fat, you still look more fit because you have muscle definition and tone because your muscles are developed. So in that regard, if you were to do ab exercises and it firmed up the muscles in the midsection, number one, that could make your stomach look flatter. Number two, it would help create some more lines in the stomach, like a six-pack. And so even if you were at a slightly higher level of body fat where you couldn't see any definition before, you might start seeing some definition purely because of the muscle definition, okay, the muscle development. If you do both of these things, you lose body fat and you develop your ab muscles, that's kind of the fastest way to really seeing that nice, flat, tight, toned midsection. And you can do that in a very short amount of time, just like Emily did in just 4 weeks. Now, next video we're going to talk about is what are the differences for weight loss and fat loss between men and women? Because there's a lot of information here online, and some of it is mostly geared towards men, and then if women try to do that, it's really not conducive for women, or vice versa. So I'm going to be breaking down the key differences for weight loss between men and women so that if you're confused, which it's very confusing, we can cut through that, clarify things so that you know what to do differently. Whether you're a man or a woman, odds are if you're watching this channel, you're a woman. So we're going to talk about some of those key differences and why they exist and they're so important. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. We'll see you next time. Take care.